Disclaimer, the comments made in this video are intended for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to offend anyone.
Welcome to another episode of Woke Logic, where facts go to die. Today's contestants, designer activists, talking cats, and brain cells on strike. Let's dive in.
This debate is gonna blow your mind.
We don't say white police. We say police because the entire system, it's the entire system that is racist. And you know what? I'm not even asking a question because if you have to ask us what our problem is, it's no point.
I refuse to take a black person seriously that wants to talk to me about the 0.00004% of black people, unarmed black people that are shot by police officers and does not want to have a conversation with me about the 17 million black babies that were aborted. No.
Me personally, while I'm driving as a black woman in a Mercedes, I was pulled over. Driving while black, have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of driving while black.
And it happens. It's happened to all of my brothers. It's happened to my father. It's happened to my uncles. This is a system of racism. Bro, I'm not about to do this with you.
No. What you guys are boycotting, you're focused on things that are not negatively. More black people were struck down, got struck by lightning in 2016 than shot by police. More police officers were shot by black people than the other way around. So what it comes down to is this is a lot of motion and there's no facts.
She said the system is broken while perfectly using it to go viral. The irony is wearing designer shoes.
You do currently have a California driver's license, you just don't have a physical copy on you at the moment.
That's my preferred method of identification.
And this is?
It's a cat collar. I'm currently identifying as a cat.
Fair enough. The information here on the tag, I'm assuming belongs to you.
Yeah, that's so rude. I hope you know I'm recording.
Well, it wasn't my intention to offend you, but he just identified as a cat, and you're wearing a Harriet's Waltz t-shirt, so forgive me if I came to a conclusion that you guys are involved in some sort of a homosexual arrangement.
I'm not mad that you think we're together, but you're using gendered language. Besides, I'm not his boyfriend, I'm his owner.
Okay. Well, look, we can do this the hard way if you'd like. I can have this car towed, because last I checked, a cat is not licensed to operate a motor vehicle in the state of California. We can have animal control come get you, take you to a shelter where your owner can retrieve you for a fee of $70 after you're given the necessary immunizations, which do include a rabies shot, possibly even spayed or neuter, whichever you prefer or identify with. Is that what you guys want to do here?
What should we do? I don't know. I don't have $70.
Sir, I can also request that a mental health care professional come down here on scene and do an evaluation of you because you're considering letting him take a rabies shot rather than just give me an ID, use some manners so I can give you your ticket and move along.
The cat just asked his owner for life advice like a Disney sidekick, and the answer was poverty.
I want to point out one thing. I'm speaking to fellow Christians. I was raised Catholic. I'm a Christian girl. When something like this happens to you, like this assassination attempt, and you say something like God was watching me, that is a very unchristian thing to say because it's very narcissistic.
Joy Behar calling someone narcissistic is like a mirror accusing a selfie of vanity.
More privileged kids are the ones who end up indulging in all of this nonsense because they're privileged. So if you're poor, you're too busy trying to figure out how to pay the mortgage. Whereas when you come from privilege, you feel guilty about your privilege anyway. And then you're going around looking for hats that you can put on. Oh, you know, today I'm gay, tomorrow I'm trans, etc. Actually, did you know my great-grandmother was black? Or whatever it is to try and claim some victimhood so that you can be admired by your friends. Or I'm suffering from mental health issues. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. The schools are encouraging them in this way. Teaching white kids to feel guilty and black kids to feel like they're victims, encouraging the whole trans stuff.
Schools used to hand out diplomas, and now they hand out identity starter packs.
It's not about race.
You're kind of filibustering. I'm trying to understand what you're saying, okay? So let's get to the point. So what I'm trying to understand...
When you say gets to the point, what do you mean gets to the point? Give you a history of the education of the whole
But you
thing.
gave me a flawed history. You said the foundation is racist, but now the specifics are not racist.
I didn't say that. I said the foundation of inequality had to do with race.
Even slavery?
And it had to do... Slavery was a business.
But was slavery based off color of skin?
Slavery was a business.
Okay, was it based off color of skin?
It was...
The answer is no. It was based off the strength versus the weak.
Let me educate you.
Sure, let's hear.
And they had... Okay, so first off, your tone. I'm cool.
Oh, now you don't like it. When I match your energy, you don't like it, right?
I'm good.
I'm good too. I'm just matching your energy. So let's keep the energy. I like it.
You're not matching my energy.
I have fun.
You're not actually matching my energy.
I am. I was being very calm, letting you talk, and now you want to be condescending.
It's not calm, it's the spirit behind it. I wasn't being condescending.
I like it. Yes, you were. But I like it. I like the heated.
So
it's not personal for me.
So the question is...
Bro forgot his point mid-woke and switched to, "You're looking at me aggressively."
Your name is not Jenna.
Please don't assume.
I am assuming.
I'm identifying as Jenna.
Okay, but your name's Caitlin. Why are you here?
No, I'm identifying as Jenna.
Your name is Caitlin. Why are you here?
Please respect me and my person.
Jenna?
My name is Jenna and my pronouns are they and them. Respect it.
I
If you don't, you're a bigot.
The sigh you heard was her brain buffering at 1% battery.
The biggest issue in our generation is white people feeling like they have entitlement over other minorities, feeling like they need to be at least in America, feeling like they need to be at the top of the food chain, and they're not. This country was built off of slavery. This country was built off of immigrants. This country is built on stolen land. Respect the people that you took this from and understand that we are telling you you are wrong. How do you think white people can do better? Sit down. Wait, stop trying. I don't feel like they need to take any type of accountability, and because of that, that's why our country is the way that it is.
Y'all heard it there. We have no accountability and we just need to sit down and shut up. Okay, but imagine a white person telling a black person that. Just literally imagine. So you need to sit down and shut up and not say anything, but you need to also take accountability for something you never did, your ancestors did. I personally don't feel that because of my skin color, I should be above anyone else. I really don't know any other white people who have that mindset either. Of course, real racism is wrong, but also advice like that is just not the solution.
She's fighting oppression by saying the exact thing she'd scream about if it went the other way. Revolutionary.
We know that San Francisco is a sanctuary city. We will always be a sanctuary city.
I want to be clear. The sheriff's office does not and will not take part in immigration raids or any federal law enforcement actions directed towards the immigrant community.
Simple message. If you want a safe city, you must support a sanctuary city. Sanctuary city, the whole point, the whole purpose is to make sure that people feel safe testifying to crimes and reporting crimes. So a safe city is a sanctuary city. And I want to end by saying that immigrants built our nation, immigrants make our country better, and in San Francisco, we support and celebrate our immigrant community.
To stand with immigrants. Are we here to stand with our families? Are we here to stand with our workers? Donald Trump, this is what community looks like.
Breaking. San Francisco now offers free hugs, housing, and invisibility cloaks.
Completely unfamiliar with child so I had, of course, to Google it last night. Scared to put it in my search engine, but I did. And apparently there is research on the subject. Not much, but there are what they call MAPs, minor attracted persons. A limited amount of research that's done on these dolls, guys, suggests that they actually, for people who are attracted to minors, these dolls actually decrease their proclivity to go out and attack children. That it actually gives them a release that makes them less likely to go outside of their home. And what was interesting is
yes, the let's treat the symptom, not the felony school of public policy.
Remember, before Bill Clinton was elected, Democrats had gone too far left. But there was a movement, the New Democrats, who wanted to bring the party back to the center, which we did with Bill Clinton, balance the budget, reduce the debt and deficit, cut welfare, tough on crime. This Democratic Party, Laura, is going further left, becoming abusive, and I think, frankly, to be blunt, irrelevant or worse. And that is tragic for my party, and tragic, I'd say, for our two-party system.
Finally, someone in the party realized that turning every issue into performance art might not win votes.
I also want to say that one of my best friends is trans, and I would say that she's more of a woman than I am. I think that women define themselves by multiple things, not just their organs. If somebody asked me who I was as a woman, I would not say I have a vagina.
Totally fair. So
I would.
No, I think you said something smart. So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
Well, that's the thing too, and I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for sure. But you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are. Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she
so
lives
women are
life.
Better people?
She's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. So I want to know what that definition is.
Right, okay. I'm going to let somebody else go.
That's all good.
Thank you.
Forced her opinion to the collective hive mind.
We will stand with those that stand with us. Costco's immediately stepped out and said that they will not back on PEI. Going shopping at Costco because they've stood with us. People that stand with us, we will stand with them. People that do not stand with us, let Donald Trump stop us in 90 days from boycotting them.
Al Sharpton leads a brave march through the $1.50 hot dog line to defend corporate virtue signaling.
Great citizens.
But there's a lot of fear-mongering.
There's a lot of fear-mongering, absolutely.
And I think it's kind of remarkable that the polls I look at, the national polls, actually Americans still support immigrants. They support immigration.
Let me show you this is one of the reasons that people have these sort of thinking. Here's the three cable networks reporting of this. Was our banner said, soon Biden announces legal protections for undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens. CNN's banner said, Biden announces new protections for some undocumented spouses. Here was Fox's banner. Migrant arrested for raping 13-year-old New York City.
Yes.
And so I think that's part of the problem, right?
Exactly.
Is that you have
That's
a lot
part
of
the
fear-mongering.
Exactly.
Yeah, fear-mongering, otherwise known as showing footage of what actually happened.
President Trump has been saying for almost a decade that there's a real problem here. DEI is not about true equality of opportunity, true diversity. What it is a multi-billion-dollar industry that pushes a far-left ideological orthodoxy. I will share a dirty little secret with you when it comes to the DEI enterprise. It really is just an elite thing. This is for the egghead laptop class that during COVID were staying at home and making lots of money on their laptops.
Remember when diversity meant different opinions, not identical buzzwords on a $12 million slide deck?
If the only way to ban abortion forever would be to bring back slavery, would you do it?
No.
No?
No. I wouldn't bring back slavery to try to limit murder. No.
Okay.
Well, but what kind of outrageous question is that, by the way?
I'm just curious. Just yes or no?
If the only way to limit human suffering is to ban abortion, would you ban abortion?
Say that again. Ask that again.
If the only way to limit human suffering is to ban abortion, would you ban abortion?
No.
Honest answer. Okay. It was an honest answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I could tell you've thought deeply about this topic.
Her game crashes due to lack of internal consistency.
Somebody who tells me that my child is wrong because of how he or she feels. I don't want to put my gay child in a position where she has to sit with someone who doesn't understand her and feels like it's okay to just blurt all that out. There are certain things where you don't have to put your family in the middle of it.
Makes me sad. How many families are going to be broken because Democrats are nuts? How many families are going to have split Thanksgiving dinners? What is wrong with you? You are jacked up. You have mental issues that go beyond politics. So for those people out there who are going through that, you're better off without those people. They're trash. And if they don't love you because you're family, you just simply want to be left alone and believe in not paying an exorbitant amount of tax and want your guns and just want to, otherwise live a happy life, then they're trash people and they don't deserve your presence at their crappy little table.
Imagine a world where every disagreement is violence and every feeling is law. Now raise your child in that world.
LA City Council members Hugo Soto Martinez and Nithya Raman were on hand today to help remove the signs. They say the no cruising and no U-turn signs were put up in the 1990s to prevent people in the gay community from meeting up with other gay people.
I was also surprised that these U-turn signs were still up. At first, they seem a little, okay, it's just a no U-turn sign. But when you learn the history of it and you realize that these were used to profile gay people, it's so important that we have these removed.
The LA City Council members say the signs were put up after the gay community began to grow and because there was a gay bar in that area.
Is the LA Council going to cancel all roundabouts for being too emotionally circular?
The beauty of our society, the beauty of being human beings, and I hear that a lot from my colleagues across the aisle, that we should just all engage as if we are humans. So I'm going to compel us to remind each other that in the beauty of being human, we have the ability to evolve, we have the ability to grow, we have the ability to learn, Madam Chair, and I'm just feeling compelled this morning to remind us that we have evolved as a society, we have evolved as a community to recognize that Black people are not less than, women are not less than, and that it is an opportunity in our society to remember that as we grow as humans, that we can include people, that we can bring people together in our community.
She solved sexism by suggesting women should legally square up with heavyweight champs. Feminism 3.0 comma now with headgear.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I have never said that, sir.
Said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you do.
This is why politicians love Twitter: instant amnesia and plausible deniability in 280 characters.
We're not going to cut it up. We're presented as is.
We're not going to present, but we're not going to play this tape anywhere.
You might not be able to play it, but I'm playing it.
I'm ashamed that white supremacy still hijacks the agenda here.
Oh, can you define white supremacy for me? Because I don't know what that means. Because I hear a lot of black people calling white people white supremacists, and in my mind, it sounds like they believe that white people are superior to.
Well, that's not what it means.
What do it mean then?
It doesn't mean that I, as a black person, think that white people are superior.
So why would you use that word, the white supremacy? It implies that you believe that.
No, it doesn't imply. Can we stop for a minute?
But you write about them and you talk about them, so I just want a better understanding.
I'd like our producer, whoever that is, to pause. I'm not going to do this interview right now. It doesn't feel comfortable to me.
But all I'm doing is following up on what you have said to get an understanding why you feel so uncomfortable. I'm a little surprised to hear you say that, because you said that one of the problems with culture is that we don't sit and agree and disagree and talk about things anymore. You said that they tend not to do that, and look like you're about to do the same thing.
The ferocious courage to say, I'm not comfortable. So I'm not comfortable right now.
I know, but you're not showing ferocious courage by running.
I'm not running. I'm just not comfortable. And I'm not
what
going
does
to do
that
it right
mean
now.
you're not comfortable? I don't know what it means.
It's not that she lost the debate, she just emotionally relocated mid-question.
And then you have those who are asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, $500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
Well, I think you're right about reparations in terms of if people want it, though, what they need to do is you always need to go back to the beginning of a supply chain. Where was the beginning of the supply chain? That was in Africa, and when across the entire world, when slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British. In Great Britain, they abolished slavery. 2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people, had them on cages, waiting in the beaches. No one was running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages. Absolutely, that's where they should start. And maybe, I don't know, the descendants of those families where they died in the high seas trying to stop the slavery, that those families should receive something too, I think, at the same time.
Don wanted a guilt trip, but Hillary booked him a one-way ticket to history class.
Trump or Kamala?
Kamala. I like her, and I'm a Democrat.
And why do you like her?
Because she will be a good female president, and I would love to have a good female president.
And what do you think she'll do good for our country?
She'll actually help our country more than Donald Trump would do, because she is smart and she's more reliable.
And what do you think are some exact things she'd do?
She'll do lower income and lower taxes.
So she'd lower everyone's income?
Yes.
Is that a good thing?
That is a good thing.
What do you think about Donald Trump?
Donald Trump is the worst president in the whole wide world.
How come?
Because he hurt the Capitol building and he started World War III.
World War III confirmed. It happened entirely in her imagination.
Tired of this narrative, I really am. I was talking to this woman the other day and she was like, oh, I go to this Pilates studio that's black owned, woman business. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you should try it. And I was like, well, I have an Equinox membership. And she was like, don't you want to support a black owned woman business? And I was like, don't care. And she was like, well, why not? I was like, well, my Equinox has multiple studios across the U.S., has a sauna, steam room, and I take unlimited classes for the same price. And she was like, yeah, but you don't see your people there. What people are you referring to? She was like, you don't see black people there. I was like, I see people there. I don't care if they're purple. I see people there, and I don't give a fuck if I see people there. I'm there for me. I'm not there for anybody else. me. Then she goes on to say, like, don't you have a business? I'm like, yes, I do. Aren't you a woman? Yes, I am. Aren't you black? Yes, I am. So she was like, so why wouldn't you want to support a black-owned woman business? I'm like, because I don't lead with that. My business is a business. Regardless of my gender or my race, it's a business at the end of the day. That's not what I lead with. To me, that's payola. Like, please support I'm a woman and I'm black. And like, what does that even mean? Is it a quality product? Is it a quality service? Great. Lead with that. You know what I'm saying? Then she goes on to say, well, I just don't feel comfortable not seeing my people.
Do you know how many experiences people miss out on because they have separated themselves from the general population by being racist? And yes, it is racist. Black people try to justify it and say that, well, I'm not racist because I don't exert power over. Well, first of all, you are racist, and yes, you do exert power over anybody. Do you remember Letitia James or Fonnie Willis that tried to get our president of America, that's today our president, locked up? More importantly, why would you segment yourself? If you are 13.6% of the population, why would you then segment yourself against the other 86+% of people in the United States of America that could possibly be customers? Furthermore, I don't know anything about this person just because they're a woman or just because they black or just because they white or anything like that. I know nothing about. They could be kicking their spouse's ass or have some children locked up in the basement. That is never a justification for whether.
If being 13% means you should shop in solidarity, then I expect every tall person to support big and tall stores exclusively.
They also respect me because I'm honest about the woke train to crazy town.
It's time to have a real conversation about this woke from both sides of the issue. First, let's ground ourselves in the reality that the majority of the woke movement has been rooted in inclusion and kindness for people who have historically been excluded and treated like shit. Now, where the narrative starts to go off the rails is when people like you, Bill Maher, chose to focus on the loudest people in the woke room. People who allow no margin for error, and the second you make a tiny mistake or deviate in perspective from them, you're treated like the enemy. And that group very much exists, and while they're small, they've been given a ton of power on the left. Now, I'm gonna make a statement that a lot of people aren't gonna like, but I believe it's true, is that loud fringe group on the left is essentially the MAGA of the left. Loudest in the room, unwilling to see alternative perspectives, a very tribal structure to how they behave, and they scare away swing voters. But despite that, there is a key difference here, which is the goal of MAGA is to exclude, and the goal of woke is to include. But unfortunately, those loudest people in the woke room took this idea of inclusion and then turned it into exclusion if you don't believe exactly what they believe when they ask you to believe it. And that is the central failure of the woke movement, and the reason that people like Bill Maher have been able to demonize the entire ideology. But we can fix this problem with a very simple alteration in how we behave. If you don't understand trans people, that's okay. We'll teach you. We're not going to call you transphobic. If you don't understand historical racial inequity, that's okay. We'll teach you. We're not going to call you racist. Simple shifts in behavior like that can change the entire outlook of not only the woke movement, but the Democratic Party itself. Because we're not actually on some woke train to crazy town like Bill Maher says, but we have to accept that we have done a terrible job controlling the narrative here. When our primary goal is to include people who have been historically excluded, we should not be losing the messaging war, but we are. So all we have to do is realize that we can't bully people into believing things they don't believe. Instead, we have to include them in the conversation so they can actually understand our perspective and not be forced into it.
From open minds to closed circles, they've evolved from rebels to referees.
All these woke people, these woke liberals, they're all for affirmative action on the principle of giving minorities a chance. They say this levels the playing field, but they have next to nothing to say for affirmative action for rich white people in terms of legacies. If you are consistent, you would also call for the abolition of the legacies. Like the way Jared Kushner, that dunderhead, got into Harvard, because that year Jared Kushner's father gave Harvard $2.5 million. That's the only reason he got in. So the hypocrisy, they're always protecting themselves.
Finkelstein showed up with facts which unfortunately weren't listed on the course syllabus labeled lived experience only.
Black Lives Matter, done for you.
Liberals are going completely insane about the fact that the Trump administration has forced the Black Lives Matter Plaza to close down. This is the Black Lives Matter Plaza, for those of you who are not sure what it is. Let's have a look at what black people actually have to say about BLM.
That's a strong question for you to ask. Especially me. What Yachty say? All they did was buy mansions?
Little Yachty is a rapper, and he's out saying, like, they bought a bunch of mansions.
BLM was literally a scam. They had bought mansions and...
No, that's definitely a scam, 100%.
Yeah. Black Lives Matter raised $100 million. They ever do anything for you?
I don't know.
They're tearing up Black Lives Matter Plaza. Does that matter to you?
No, honestly. No. Democrats, they're nothing but corrupt. They are traitors to this country. Investigate them similar.
Turns out Black Lives Matter mostly meant black luxury mansions.
Still human beings. So you don't care if they're the worst criminal in the world and they have raped and murdered children. They're okay and they're still human beings and they should be here?
I believe that they are human beings and that they deserve dignity just as everybody else.
You think child rapists deserve dignity?
Absolutely, I do.
Yes, and sharks are still fish. That doesn't mean you invite them to the pool party.
And let me tell you something as a black woman. I do not need a white man to tell me that my life matters. You hear what I'm saying? I know that I'm fabulous. I know that my life matters. You don't have the right to tell me my life matters. I don't need your privilege to tell me or to justify who I am in America. This is my country. This is my land. My ancestors built this country. So I'm going to walk around here as bold as I want to. And I don't have to have you to co-sign and tell me my life matters. That right there insinuates that you think your voice is bigger and better than mine. You can disagree. You can disagree. But you are supporting an organization that does not like black men. And as a black woman, I can tell you how important black men are to the black family. Without them, we are nothing. So when you support an organization that doesn't push them up the way we need them to be, you ain't and you can take that from Miss Michelle and post it wherever you like.
Queen didn't just drop the mic, she unplugged the whole sound system.
Unavailable to black people, and where does that then leave us? It puts us back to when America was great and we were picking cotton and all of it, we're doing the productivity that they are putting my Latino brothers and sisters who migrate here to do that work, because we are not intellectually to do it anymore. And but they would have us back confined to doing that kind of work. So we gotta watch out for where we are headed, and it's the people that will...
What did I just hear? This man is crazy. He's crazy. That is it's weird. What he's saying is insane.
He just accidentally pitched slavery as a jobs program.
Check this out. My poor, innocent, A+ student niece, grade 5, has just been suspended from elementary school because the poor kid didn't want to take part in the class's curriculum teaching about gay and transgender preferences. My niece texts my sister and says, "Mom, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't feel comfortable." And the teacher said, "We will suspend you if you don't take part in this. This is the school board's curriculum and you must take part in this." And the kid said, "I'm not comfortable," didn't want to. She texted my sister. They said that they were going to take her phone from her on top of that. My sister is losing her called them. She's going there right now to pick up my niece. If that was my daughter, those teachers wouldn't want to me, because I would lose my on you. Teachers, stop teaching it to the minors. Stop teaching it to kids. They shouldn't know about this. And also, they were teaching them about these kids who think they're cats and dogs and lions and sheeps, and they're allowed to piss in litter boxes. Yes, this is happening in a Barry public school, which my niece is in, and this is happening right now. My sister is fuming. If that was my kid, I would go there right now and lose it on these teachers.
Suspended for not playing make-believe? Education is evolving backwards. And that concludes today's walk through the Twilight Zone with Wi-Fi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and protect your common sense before it gets canceled too.